3 Prosecco's before this.
Okay, I'm going to say it. She's had 4 drinks before this, so this is going to get a little bit spicy at points. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm just going to get this out of the way first of all. Anyone here not know Lisa? 3, right. So, and seeing as Maddie has basically done the first question for me, but I'm going to fucking do it again because they're on my cards, and the ADHD part of me is going to absolutely go fucking wild if I don't. So, Dan to Lisa. So Lisa, tell us all what you have done and how long it took you to achieve that.
Who wants to answer that?
Maddie.
Maddie does. By the way, Dan and I are mates, so if we rip the piss out of each other, I'm not mean, we're just mates. This
is going to be offensive. Is anyone here easily offended?
No, good.
That's
we're
fucking
good.
handy. Out.
What have I done? I basically started a business 7 years ago to help people get the knowledge out of their head and make money from it using the online world. And at that time, I was 35 grand in debt, and I had little toddler twins, and now I'm not in debt.
You have the most luxurious fucking life of anyone I know.
Dan
I'm
literally
constantly trolling you, saying,
trolls
"Do you literally every time another fucking bag?" Seriously, what is it with bags, ladies? I don't get it. Just get your investment.
It's an investment.
Oh, is it an investment? Is it? Okay, thank you for clarifying that for me. So then, this is going to be my favourite question. So Lisa, you sound posh as fuck, but for those of you who don't know you, what's your actual background?
Do you know that he writes to me all the time on WhatsApp, just telling me that I sound posh? I come from a council estate, and I definitely don't sound posh. I think it says more about you.
Okay, what does it say about me then?
That you think I'm posh. I shouldn't have had 3 Prosecco's before this.
Okay, I'm going to say it. She's had 4 drinks before this, so this is going to get a little bit spicy at points.
No, I didn't grow up in... And the reason I tell this story of how I grew up, and I was bullied growing up, and we didn't have any money when I was growing up. The reason I tell it is because when I first started in business, I looked at other people out there, and I said, well, she's all right because she probably grew up with loads of money, or he's okay because maybe he got money from somebody else, like his dad. And I used to give myself all these excuses. I mean, stupid excuses. I used to say things like, well, that person's okay because she's prettier or she's thinner, and you know, you come up with this stuff. And then I realised I was giving myself a narrative that was just a load of bollocks at the end of the day, and that I needed to just do stuff anyway. And so the reason I talk about my background now is because when I was there then, I wish I had somebody that I could go, well, she's done it, she seems pretty normal, she's not posh, she's not, you know, got loads of money, I'm not posh.
You are posh.
And I hope that all of you in here and anybody that follows me kind of looks at me and goes, there's nothing special about her. And I know that sounds weird because everyone wants to feel special, but I really don't, because that means that anyone can do it, and I believe they can.
Yeah, and as much as I do tease Lisa about being posh, like, her background is genuinely normal, and I think the reason her course has been so successful is because it just helps normal people. Like,
I don't think anyone doesn't believe this. It's only you that thinks I'm posh. Like, you don't need to convince
You
them.
speak like you're a bit posh. You sound like you've had 2 years of private education and then you had to step out for some reason.
What reason would that be, Dan?
I am not going to explore that on this stage next. So with that in mind, Lisa, why do you think what you've done has worked so well? Because let's be honest, it's done really fucking well.
It has done well. I think at the beginning, the reason why things worked well, like hitting that first million in the second year, that happened because I talked about integrity. So most people were doing what I was doing. They were selling some form of passive income, whether it was courses or something like that online, but they were doing it in kind of a sleazy way. They were...
Let's have some fun with it. What's sleazy? Come on,
All right.
Sleazy ways.
All
let's
right,
get
let's do a little thing with them. So...
Oh, really?
I knew it was going to go like this. So, let's say that I'm on a call with you and you're saying to me, oh yeah, I like what you're selling, but I need to go and just ask my partner, you know, whether they think it's a good idea. I know I'm saying this to the wrong person.
No, who's ever had that, seriously, sort of like ask the partner objection? Anyone ever been hit with that one? As if there's something wrong with you for asking your other half to spend money.
Exactly.
It's dumb as fuck.
But when I said that to somebody, they were like, you're not a real business person if you can't make your own decisions and go and ask your partner. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is somebody, you're someone that I don't know. This is someone that loves me and wants the best for me, and I'm making decisions for my whole family. Of course I'm going to go and talk to them. It doesn't make me a bad businesswoman. And so I saw a lot of this out there. I saw a lot of smoke and mirrors. I saw a lot of people talking about their massive multi-seven-figure businesses that were making no profit. I saw so much stuff out there was just not in integrity, that's what I started to talk about. And that made me $1 million, just talking about that, because I think people care more about your secondary messaging, which is the thing that you're known for, than the thing that you sell. I mean, it doesn't matter what you sell, there's going to be other people selling it, right? So you need to differentiate yourself from everybody else. And the only way to do that is your values, the things that you care about, whether that's the environment, or whether education in schools need to be different, or whether it's integrity on the internet. And so I started talking about that. The reason why I think I've got to the 20 million plus stage, I think, is because of how I launch. I think most people, especially in the last 2 to 3 years, most people are launching how they launched 15 years ago, because the gurus out there are still selling the same fucking courses, telling you the same way, even though they're not launching like that. So if you're launching online programs or courses, you need to do it in the way that works now, and no one's teaching that. I am now, but no one was teaching that.
Seriously, who's been stung by something like that before? Bought something that worked 10 years ago from the same person over. I know I have. I've fallen for it. I've signed up, spent tens of thousands, like, post more on social media. Well, fucking thank you. That was worth 10 grand.
How helpful.
So would you say your values have made a big impact on your actual success then? Like what you truly believe in and who you are?
Yeah, and they still do now, because I think there's a million ways to make £1 million. I honestly do think, people talk about strategy. I'm a strategist. I talk about strategy as well. But I think that there's loads of different ways, and all of the ways work, if we're honest about it. It's just that no one sticks to it very long, usually. But the second reason is that you could get pulled in all different directions. If you don't have real core values that you stick to, how do you know where to go and what to do? Like, somebody offered me about 2 years ago, if you say, because I lost some weight, and they said, if you say you lost weight because of our keto coffee, we'll give you 50 grand. I mean, I could have made money with 50 grand, but if you have values, you're not going to. You're going to find the right way to make money. And I think it is better to make millions and sleep at night than to make millions and hate yourself.
Yeah, there's a great point there. I mean, me and Lisa, how long have you been online, would you say now?
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
It's about 12 for me, and it's kind of like dog years in the online space.
You're really old in the dog.
I'm old as fuck in this space. Like, the fact that someone called me the OG of what I do, I was like, I'm 40 fucking 4.
You're younger than me.
Huh?
You're younger than me.
It's called a grey beard. I think I've aged well, like a good steak.
You have aged well.
I'm living proof you can polish a turd. With enough money, you can get that. But what the fuck are we talking about? Sorry,
I know,
you totally threw me
it.
now. But no, having values and integrity is really important. And Lisa made a really good point there, which I want to just expand upon, is sticking with something for time. How important is that?
It's so important. You see people and they do one thing, and then they go, oh, I see this in one to many, sorry. But you will have seen this as well if you're in there, that there are some people who do my program One to Many, and they will do something for 10 minutes, and then they will write, and you will have seen these posts where they go, oh, I've been doing this for so long now, and I can't sell anything yet, and I haven't got a massive audience. And I'm like, okay, how long have you been doing it? It's like 2.5 weeks. I'm like, it's just going to take you a year or more, and I don't think that's their fault. I think it's the fault of marketers like us, because we see so many people putting stuff out there about how you can make money, be a millionaire in 6 weeks. That's a load of crap. You can't. It takes you longer than that. And some people say to me, oh, I think we can see that you're like an overnight success. But what they don't see is all the stuff before. I had a business before this.
What was your business before?
I was a wedding planner.
Oh shit, I forgot that.
Yeah. And everyone forgets that.
Yeah,
and so it's like, oh, you just came online and magically made all this money. It's like, no, I learned on the job in the wedding planning business, which failed. So you learn with the things that don't work, not with the things that do.
So I've got a good question. So I often say this to a lot of my clients and stuff, and that success is actually really quite boring. It is doing a lot of the same things over and over again.
That's
for
so
time.
right.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's exactly what you do. The unsexy stuff in business is what makes you the money. Unless you're on OnlyFans, then it's the opposite to that. But
Lisa, right. What works on OnlyFans? Tell us.
Funnily enough, people, every time I'm in the newspaper or every time I do anything, somebody always says, well, she made her money from OnlyFans, or some other kind of trolling comment. And what I started to do is put those comments on t-shirts and sell them and make money for Bullies Out, who I'm an ambassador of. And someone here today is wearing
Can't see the t-shirt. Do you mind coming up on stage? Yeah, coming up.
Must have made my money from OnlyFans. So, and you know what? If I had
Well, thank you. Little round of applause. Thank you.
If I had made my money from OnlyFans, good. Who cares? Like, who are we to judge? But I didn't.
Well, aren't we all glad we now know that?
People constantly tell us we have to have this work-life balance, and we have to have a balance in life, and it's too hard to maintain that. We've all been on our phones when we've been with the kids, and yet the stuff online is constantly never to do that. It isn't realistic. I think what we need to do is lower the expectations of us being perfect, and instead say, are we doing a good enough job? And I think most of the time, we're all doing a good enough job. Our kids are kind of happy. Husband might be happy.
I really like husband. He was sound. He's he's cool. I like him. I met Lisa's husband. He's fucking sound. He's a really cool bloke.
And you know, your work is doing okay. But if you try and put everything into your work and then everything into the kids, you're always going to feel some kind of imbalance or guilt. And I'm not up for guilt. I'm not doing it. And so instead, I'm like, have I done a good enough job today? And I'm okay with that. I think one of the easiest ways to feel more balanced, if you want to call it that, is to stop thinking that success is what everyone else is telling you it is. That's the quickest way. So I did think that success is what everyone was telling me it was, because I didn't know any different. And 2 or 3 years ago online, I was doing all the things that everyone tells you to do. I was ticking all the boxes. I'd got the best-selling book, you know, I got a Sunday Times bestseller, I got a UK podcast that went to #1, I got invited to Necker Island with Richard Branson. I did all the things that people told me to do. 6 figures, get to that. No, you've done it now, get to multi-6 figures. You've done that, get to 7, get to multi-7. I was knackered. And then it was like, when are you getting to 8 figures? And at the time, I was actually I take my friends on a super yacht. I know that sounds bougie, but I only do it once a year.
Hands up, everyone else who takes their friends on super yachts, yeah? Do you know what? Nothing like relatability, Lisa. No, yeah.
It's my only thing. It's the only thing I do that's bougie. But
It fucking isn't.
So I took them on this yacht, and I was sitting there with all my friends from before this, and you've all got friends from before you were an entrepreneur who love you anyway, whether you're successful or not. I was on this boat with them, and they were talking about going to this Chinese restaurant for one of their birthdays in the estate where we grew up. And they were like, oh, you can't come, Lisa, can you? You're going to be like playing tennis with Richard Branson in Necker Island. And at that moment I knew, and I said I'm not going. And they were like, you've paid like 70 grand to go because they've invited you there. It's like, I'm not going. I want to go to this Chinese restaurant and spend $5.99 on the Chinese with you. And that's exactly what I did. And from that moment, so I phoned them and I was like, sorry Necker, I'm not coming. You can keep the money, I'm not coming. And from that moment, everything changed, because I realised that I was on somebody else's success path. Success didn't look like that for me. I just got carried away on the hamster wheel of what success looks like for everybody. I don't want to make 8 figures. I'm not bothered. I'm happy. And I think Georgie was talking in the Big Festoon stage earlier today about happiness. Happiness isn't getting to all these stages. And I think as soon as you realise that, you will become happy. It's the getting to it. You don't remember when you hit 7 figures. You're not going to remember when you get your first Sunday Times best-selling book. You won't remember any of that stuff. You will remember all the things along the way. So enjoy that part of the journey.
Awesome. I think that's a great point there. I mean, clap!
I like this? Could you just come on stage with me every time and shout at people to clap?
Honestly, I was following around this morning. I felt like a fucking minder. The amount of people taking selfies with me is ridiculous. But I got 2 points out of that. So the first thing is one of my mentees said this, and I'm just shamelessly stealing it. And it's the whole work-life balance thing. There's not a thing. It's just life. Okay? You choose to play how hard you want to play. There are going to be times where you can do fun stuff and do cool stuff. There are times when it's just gonna suck ass. And you're going to have to knuckle down. Like all of us who've been successful have gone through what I call the dick sucking phase, which is just the bit where you are waking up really fucking early.
I don't call it that.
I mean, I've never tried, but I'm preemptively saying I'm not a fan. But that aside...
You've not tried it though.
That doesn't mean I'm gonna.
I feel like this is a whole conversation that needs
Stop. That aside, it is a case of you choose how hard you want to play. Okay? So if you want to go hard, play hard. But you're going to make some sacrifices, and it's a case of it is just life. Okay? And the point Lisa made there about spending time with her friends and the Chinese, okay, kind of dovetails into how I wanted to wrap up sort of my bit on this one. Okay? The biggest thing that was missing. So I actually made a list of all the things that I was unhappy with in my life, and the biggest thing that I was missing was connection. So I was popular online. There's one of my favourite memes, and he's simply saying being popular on social media is like being the king person at the mental hospital on a table. That is it. It's not real, okay? Yes, obviously you're real people, and I've met lots of you through social media. But connection was the thing that was missing. Stuff like this, time with your friends, time with your family, time with your loved ones, that's the stuff that you're going to remember. And actually taking time to connect with other human beings, other people, have conversations, have some fun, and honestly just relax a little bit. None of us are getting out of this alive, okay? That's it. Don't know what your beliefs are. My philosophy is you got one roll of the dice here. So from me, I'm gonna close out with simply, make it fucking count.
Thanks, Dan.